to chains and lifting devices. Now, we have lots of chains in here. We have our overhead chain gantries with chain falls on them. We have this portable, typically, it's a portable crane, but it's typically referred to as a cherry picker. We will also use the forklift from time to time to lift things, and we'll incorporate chains with that, okay? So chains, one thing we got to talk about is, first of all, is we have different size chains. As you can see, this chain here is much larger lengths than this chain here. That should right away tell us that this has a greater capacity than what this does, okay? So finding a chain that is going to work for whatever we're trying to lift and be safe is key. We'll also notice that we have a couple different types of hooks. This hook here, with the smaller opening, is considered a grab hook. These grab hooks are designed to grab onto another length, so we can attach them like this. Okay? These are, in most cases, for most things, much safer, because obviously this is going to hold on onto that link like that, it doesn't fall down. If I try to do that with this style of slip hook, obviously it's not going to hold on to the link, correct? Now, if we were to wrap this around anything, I mean, we can think of a million different things to lift. Let's say we're going to lift a piece of pipe, and we're to roll this chain around the pipe and hook this like this. There is a good potential that when you start to lift, the hook's going to fall off. Okay? So, in those cases, it would be better to use a chain with some grab hooks. They're going to hold on much, much better. The likelihood of them falling off is going to be greater. Also, we have different designs. This is called this has a clevis attaching point. That's where this pin goes through the hook and it connects it to the link. All right. We also have what we call eye attaching points. Is one better than the other? Not necessarily. They're different designs. Also, what do we notice about this hook that's different than the other ones that held up?
Got a gate on it.
What's that?
Got a gate on it.
Yeah, it's got a gate on it, or a safety latch. This allows us to hook it on something and helps it to not fall off, okay? So, this is another thing that we can take into consideration when we're using the rig chains for lifting different things. Does anybody know what this thing is that I'm holding up?
Pulley.
What's that?
Pulley system.
It's a what?
Pulley system.
It is not a pulley. It looks like a pulley. It does. I mean, it resembles a pulley, but it is not a pulley. What's that?
Leveler.
Yes, it is going to allow us, by turning this, it's going to allow us to change the length of these chains that's to lift things level. Because a lot of times we're going to be in situations where we're lifting engines and transmissions and so forth, and they're not perfectly square, they're not perfectly level. We may have to make adjustments so when we start to pick them up, they pick up in a manner we need them to. Maybe we need them to be level. Maybe we're taking them in or out of the machine and we don't need them to be level. Maybe we got to tilt them one way or the other way to get them to clearance around things to come out or go in. These things work great, okay? These are rather small. These have a 2,000-pound capacity. So, yeah, we can lift engines, most engines and transmissions with them, but we're not going to pick a machine up with this. It's not rated for it. Things and typically using chains, we're going to use what we call lifting eyes. I have multiple types of lifting eyes here. And this is an area that I see students make a lot of mistakes, is with these lifting eyes right here. This style of lifting eye. This style of lifting eye is intent and purposes to lift one way, and that's vertically, straight up. We do not put these things into something on the side like this and then lift this way. They will break. These are only intended to be screwed in straight and lifted in a vertical fashion, okay? They work great if you can find the proper thread to thread them into an engine block, cylinder head, and so forth. Yeah, and that's the other thing is, they gotta fit in tight. They cannot go in and be loose or sloppy. If they're loose or sloppy, we put a bunch of weight on them, there's a good potential it's gonna pull what threads are there out, or it's gonna slip out and fall. So, that's one style of lifting iron. This is another style, and these are much, much nicer. These things we can bolt onto something and move them around and lift in different manners. These will be used more often, much, much nicer. One thing that I do notice a lot of times is when they're using these, we get lazy. We stick the bolt in, we don't tighten it. Or we'll put it in a few threads and I'll see that bolt sticking out like that. No, we're gonna tighten that thing down all the way. We don't want it loose, we want it nice and tight. We have a pivoting point here, so we don't need to rely on pivoting it around the bolt. Okay? So, when this comes into play, we gotta think about two things. First, does the bolt have the adequate strength to hold everything together? If the bolt is our limiting factor, that can be a problem. So when we're attaching lifting eyes, the bolts that we use need to be strong enough for what we're lifting. Okay? Whenever there's a question with any of this, you're going to bring it to me and we're going to talk about it. But also, we're going to tighten things up. Okay? We're not going to leave things loose. Last thing I want to talk about with chains is a lot of times we're going to have some small pieces of chain like this around here. And we will have to use these small pieces of chain to connect to things. And we can use bolts. We can use bolts to bolt it to an engine block, a cylinder head. Once again, we're going to tighten them. We got to make sure that the chain and the bolt is going to have enough capacity to lift whatever we're lifting. In some cases, maybe we're going to use a bolt and washer setup and bring the chain back to itself. And put a nut on it. Well, once again, the bolt and chain need to be strong enough. Also, maybe we need to add a washer. We don't want to get a bunch of weight on this and have a situation where the bolt, the nut, or the bolt head could pull through the length. Okay? So there's all these little things we need to think about. Once again, we're using lifting devices that probably suggest to us that it's beyond our physical lifting capabilities. With that being said, if it falls, many things can happen. Our biggest concern here is personal safety. So we're going to use these in a manner to keep ourselves safe. I cannot stress enough to tighten everything. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Finger tight doesn't cut it. Get some wrenches out. Make sure it's tight. We don't want it falling off. We don't want to lift something up on the end of a machine that's vibrating and we're going across the parking lot and it's doing this and all of a sudden the nut falls off and the bolt falls out and whatever it is falls. Even if it doesn't cause harm to someone, it could cause damage to whatever we're moving. These parts are very expensive. So we don't want to cause undue damage to them because of negligence on our end by not tightening something properly. Okay? And then the last thing I have out here is a strap. And we don't use a lot of straps in this class. We primarily use chains, but there are different lifting straps. And the reason I have this out here, this is actually a large ratchet strap, and this is not intended or should ever be used for lifting. This is to tie something down, to retain cargo on a trailer and so forth. This is not for lifting purposes. So there are straps that will look very similar to this, and they are designed to lift things, and they will have a tag on them with ratings and so forth. But we're not to use these things in the proper manner. We are not to use straps that are for retaining cargo or holding things down. Ratchet straps. There's a lot of ratchet straps out there. In most cases, ratchet straps are to retain things. We see them all over the place, and a lot of times, especially the really small, little 1-inch wide ones, they usually don't have any ratings on them. They're not made to pull cars. They're not made to lift engines. They're usually made to hold small things down to trailers in the backs of trucks and so forth, okay? They're not lifting devices, and nor will we use them as lifting devices. So that's the only reason I have this out here is to make us aware. Even though they may physically look very much the same, their design and intent and purposes is drastically different. Is there any questions on this stuff? Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is our overhead chain gantries. We have two of them in here. Obviously, we have a large orange one back here that has two sets of chain falls on it, a small set and a very large set. That is obviously going to be able to lift greater things than what the smaller one is. For those of you that have never used these, they're quite simple. It's one-way lifts, one-way allows them to extend. You'll also notice on this one that there's a tag on there. Does anybody know what that tag's for?
Lifting capacity.
That one probably does not have lifting capacity on it. The lifting capacity will be on the chain fall itself. That is actually an inspection tag. That means somebody, a professional, has come in here that their job is to inspect these and make sure that they're functioning and working as they should be, and they've affixed a tag to it. So that's just to mean that it's been inspected. That way, if OSHA or someone along those lines will come in here, they can say, okay, well, it has some proper tags on it. One thing I don't want to say with these, we don't lift our buddies up off of these things. That's one thing I see students do. They're always goofing around with these things. Or they'll sit here and they'll be spinning this thing as fast as they can. No, we're not here to spin it. It is a tool. It has an intent and purpose. Let's use it that way. They are not things to lift your buddies up on. They are not things to be goofing around with. And once again, kind of like the jacks, I will have to remind somebody of that. We also notice on here that this has a safety latch on it. Okay? Once again, these are intent and purpose is to be used in a vertical fashion. These are not laid horizontally. They are to be used in a vertical fashion, straight up and down. So with it straight up and down, we can see that the likelihood of something falling off that hook has greatly changed. Okay? So once again, these things have a manner in which they're supposed to be used. You will do an exercise tomorrow using these overhead chain fall systems. You'll also be using the portable crane and or cherry picker. And you'll be using jacks. So be prepared tomorrow. And